Thank you, Joe. Um, I first have to thank the Toledo Walleye organization. They gave me my opportunity in pro hockey. I want to thank Neil Newcomb and Joe Napoli. Coming out of junior hockey, it's always a little bit of a risk, if you will, to hire someone in pro hockey. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm very proud of the 2 years I had in Toledo and the relationship and the bond I had with the fan base there, which was special. Very excited to be part of the Minnesota Wild organization. I want to thank Brent Flair for the opportunity, Chuck Fletcher, and Brad Bombardier, who was very involved in the process. Very much looking forward in working with Bruce Boudreau. Had an opportunity to speak with Bruce yesterday, someone I've looked up to following his career and learning from his staff. We are an extension. I am an extension of Bruce's staff. Our number one priority is development, and we will ready his players to be productive in the National Hockey League. But with that said, I want to win. I want to win badly. I've been very fortunate to come from a background in my hockey throughout my coaching career, whether it was at Fair State or the University of Denver or Green Bay in the USHL Toledo. Very fortunate to be around winning cultures and attitudes of winning, and I would like to bring that here. Lastly, a little bit on our team. We're going to be a team that plays fast. In this day and age of hockey, in this day and age of the NHL, you have to play fast. We're going to emphasize that all the time. We're going to play with structure, and we're going to play with discipline. And I'm really looking forward to moving to Des Moines with my family. I just had a little time in Des Moines coming from my college background, recruiting here and coaching in the USHL, coming here to Des Moines. I've always liked it. It's always been what we talk about, one of the best kept secrets. My family's very excited about it. And as my players like to say, for tradition, or they call it tradi, I have to acknowledge my 3 kids at home. I promised them I would. To Alex, Luke, and Abby, hope you're doing well. Dad says hello, and I'll see you tomorrow.
You guys like to open up for any questions?
When you coach Andrew when you say you want to play fast, it's one thing to say it, but how do you instill it? How do you
Well, our habits and practice. Our practices will be fast. Our practices will be tempo. It's going to be about transition and moving the puck. All my teams, from learning it at the college to when I became a head coach, we were known as a transition fast team. And you have to this day, and we'll make it. It'll be comfortable, uncomfortable for some guys at times, but when you preach it, you talk about it, when you talk about transition, spending as little time as possible in your zone, and you make it a habit of who you are, that's about playing fast.
Coach John Shaver, Channel 5, you talked about the winning aspect. Obviously, development's number one, but winning here for the Wild has been tough the last couple of years.
Yeah, I've been reminded everywhere I've turned about the lack of wins here.
So what do you do to turn it around, not just on the ice, but mentality-wise with some of the guys?
I think it's going to be an everyday approach. It's going to be a culture approach. I came into a very, very similar situation. 2 unique situations. When I became a head coach in Green Bay, the United States Hockey League, I came into a really good team. And I kind of knew it was a good team. We ended up, from start to finish, we had one of the best records in the history of the league. We won both the regular season and the championship. That was different. I came to Toledo. They were in dead last. And it was a very similar feel than when I came here. The business side is extremely good here. It was the same thing in Toledo. They were just lacking wins. And it's going to start with culture. It's going to start with a mindset. When you're here, it's your responsibility to win on that given night. And that's tough at this level. Guys are moving up and down. There's some sour faces that guys want to be up in the National Hockey League. I certainly understand that. But if it comes from within the room, it makes for a very dangerous team. It's not going to happen overnight. I've done a good job. My entire coaching career has been balancing development and winning. And when you just continually preach winning and you continually preach habits of winning, hopefully winning will happen.
What's the biggest adjustment you have to make from ECHL?
I've always been a relationship-based guy. I was very fortunate. I got a very unique path. Not too many guys have coached in college and then went the junior route and then the pro route, ECHL and the AHL. I think I was very fortunate in college. You're relationship-based. You're sitting there. I still remember looking Jason Zucker in the eyes at 15 years old and his parents and telling him, we're going to give you the tools to develop into the National Hockey League. When you look at Tyler Bozak, at Joel Colburn, when those guys, they entrust you, it's a trust, and I became very relationship-based, and I've taken that with me into pro hockey, and it's worked very well. I think establishing those relationships, there's different goals for guys now. It's financially driven, it's career-driven, communicating what I want, being personable. Again, it's going to be relationship-based in my approach.
Coach, what are the keys? The primary job is obviously to get players ready if Minnesota needs. What is the key to doing that, to getting players ready to transition?
I think winning habits. Every kid's going to be different. A skilled guy that translates to the National Hockey League compared to a depth guy or a different element, maybe a tough element, hard to play against element. But the winning habits, preparing guys, are they stopping on pucks? Do they have stick detail? Those are winning habits that we'll install them here to make sure they're ready when they go up. Really good with my relationship with Grand Rapids. Always was a compliment, either from Jeff Blashill or Todd Nelson, when it was seamless, same system, and guys came up and didn't miss a beat. So first and foremost, those winning type of habits. We want to develop winners, we want to create winners, and it starts with those good habits.
Have you talked to Coach Torch at all about this job and
I have not talked to Torch yet. I plan on reaching out to him. Small world. Obviously, I worked in the Detroit Red Wing organization. Jeff Blashill is a very good friend of mine. I was connected with him when he was in Grand Rapids, and it was just interesting going through his process. He's someone I talk to quite often, and he's telling me about Torch, and then Torch ends up being the coach there, and we have a lot of mutual friends. He was very good to our organization. I've sent him players from Toledo to here, so it was pretty neat when they hired him. And then my phone rang. Hockey's a very small world. I didn't even know Iowa was available. It looked like they were holding the job for John, and then the phone rang, and the rest is history.
What's the next step then, as far as staffing?
Pascal Rayom is going to stay on board. Very excited about that. I like talking to him. I talked to him on the weekend. I love the energy. I like his playing career. He kind of willed his way into playing in the National Hockey League. And the management staff thinks extremely high of David Cuniff. They thought that he did a really good job here. I know even in the process, when I talked to him, when I interviewed with him, David was a guy that was high on their list to become the head coach here. So it's important for them to have David back. So that's become important to me. Now with that said, I think David was very disappointed. He was not named the head coach here. It's understandable. He seems like a very passionate human being and a very competitive human being. So that's something hopefully I'll address with him. Maybe we can talk at the draft. We would like him here. And again, because it's that important to the management group, they think that strongly of him. It's important for me too. So hopefully David will be on board also, but that's something that'll take some time.
Coach, you've heard the attendance figures after the season is in last place in the last 3 years. Is it exciting to know that what you can build for the attendance, say, if you get up to
Absolutely.
or a top-tier team?
Absolutely. I've been very fortunate. My 2 head coaching experiences with the Green Bay Gamblers United States Hockey League, they excelled on the business side. We were breaking record after record in the USHL, and to have that momentum, that championship season, and a team that was expected to win, it was very exciting. And then Toledo, again, was very similar to this. They had the business side. When I was looking into that job, when I was interviewing that job, they were in dead last. There was no reason for fans to show up, and there were 7,500 people on a Sunday night. So it has a very similar feel to that. Obviously, they do a good job promoting, and it's family-based, and they do a very good job of getting people in the building here. But there's no substitute for winning. And, I'm not going to stand up here and brashly say we're going to win. It's going to be a process, but, boy, this could be something special, too. And I was very intrigued by it. It's one of the things I talked in meeting with Brent is, boy, what this could be. This is special. I've won a championship with Green Bay in the USHL. I was part of the very first championship in the history of Fair State. We won the CCHA. And I told Brett, the turnaround we had in Toledo to win the Brabham Cup, to turn that around, to win a regular season championship, you can't put a value on that. That's one of the most special things I've ever been part of. The championships in college, the championships in junior were great, but to be able to turn something around is something no one can ever take away from you. So that's my goal here. I'm excited for the opportunity. It's not going to be easy. Again, it's going to start with development, but I think winning exceeds development. It's going to be my goal.
With wife and 3 kids, so you're going to have your hands full relocating a little bit. Who's in charge of that?
My wife is certainly in charge of that. I'm a brilliant human being. My SAT score and my grade point average never will ever lead to that I'm brilliant. But I married a coach. My wife has been a head coach at the Division III level in soccer, at the Division I level as an assistant, at the Division II level as a head coach, and she understands the ups and downs. Never easy relocating. My kids are 10, 8, and 6. It was hard news for them, but they also understand it too. And I think they saw the writing on the wall. I went down the path of 3 or 4 other NHL organizations, interviewed for a couple AHL head jobs last year, interviewed for an NHL assistant job last year. So I think they knew it was probably inevitable. And again, it's much easier. We got them excited about Des Moines, and there's a lot to sell here. So that transition will probably happen at the end of the summer, and we sincerely are looking forward to moving to Des Moines.
You're not the only guy to move here from Toledo recently. Matt Campbell came up to Ames.
I was told by Fish, stay away from the Iowa State rivalry. I'm going to get out in front of it. I am a 100% Cyclone. I apologize to all the Iowa fans, but I had a great relationship with Matt. We established a good relationship. I seeked him out. I saw what he did. I wanted to learn from him. I went over to a couple of his practices. 2 guys on his staff, Skip and Mouse, are my boys. We actually share the same watering hole in Toledo. So they were one of the first guys that congratulated me when they got the news. So I'm all Cyclones. I'll be up there for a couple practices and probably even be on the sideline for a game or 2. Matt Campbell's my boy. Let's go Cyclones.
Coach, you've had a very grinded out career, coaching-wise, going one step at a time. What does this step to the AHL mean to you and your family?
It's exciting. I've been very methodical in my career. It's never been a rush for me. It's always about learning and getting better. Again, it's a very non-traditional path. I think people raise their eyebrows a little bit. I left Green Bay, one of the most prestigious organizations, the USHL. I was probably trending. I was hearing from colleges. I was probably trending to be a head coach at the college level. But I was very intrigued about pro hockey. I saw my good buddies John Cooper and Jeff Blashill leave the USHL and have success in pro hockey and being who they were. And so I was very intrigued with pro hockey. And one of the first things that was exciting about Toledo was having access to Mike Babcock, Detroit Red Wings, and Jeff Blashill. And I thought I was a really good coach out of junior. My 2 weeks I spent with Mike Babcock at his camp, I grew immensely. And it's always been about growth. And this is the same thing. It's a bit of a pinnacle in that it's a world-class league. These jobs are very hard to come by, but it's still about getting better. I can't wait to have access to Bruce and Scott and John, and I'm still growing, and this is just another step.